It's Wednesday, March 11th, 2026, and apparently it's Oatmeal Nut Waffle Day, which feels like the internet dared us to say that out loud. Welcome back to CoeCast. I'm Hunter.
And I'm Riley. Also, yes, today's episode is made end-to-end by automation. Like the outline showed up, the segments snapped into place, and if we randomly start talking like a terms of service, that's just the robot stretching.
We keep the blemishes. That's the whole vibe. All right, big story stack today. GLM-5 going open weights with this private inference push using trusted execution environments, MiroThinker dropping verification-centric agent models, and Fish Audio S2 open sourcing expressive text-to-speech.
It's like the open source Avengers assembled, but they all have different moral codes, and one of them definitely laughs nervously on command.
It's actually literally Fish Audio S2. But let's start with GLM-5. Everyone on X is hyped about open weights plus private inference with TEEs. Non-hand-wavy reason a marketing org should care is simple. You can run high-capability language automation on sensitive data without handing it to some random third-party API that your legal team has never met.
Okay, but hold up. TEEs are the thing where the model runs inside like a hardware vault, right? So even the infrastructure provider can't peek at your prompts.
That's the promise. A trusted execution environment is basically an enclave that's supposed to isolate the computation. So your customer lists, campaign performance exports, product roadmap docs, even regulated stuff like healthcare-ish copy reviews, can be processed with less, trust me bro, energy.
Less trust, more math and hardware.
Exactly. And for creators and marketers, that means you can finally automate the stuff you've been scared to automate, like turning call transcripts into objection libraries, generating compliant variants, doing internal competitive analysis, and building campaign briefs using real internal data.
The catch, though, because there's always a catch. What's the failure mode nobody's tweeting yet?
3 catches. First, operational pain. TEEs can be finicky. Remote attestation, key handling, debugging when something breaks. It's not click deploy, become secure.
So it's like, congrats, you got privacy and also a new hobby.
Exactly. Second, performance and cost. TEEs can introduce overhead, and you might have constraints depending on the enclave tech. Third, security isn't magic. Side-channel attacks exist, misconfigurations exist. If you treat TEE like a halo, you'll do something dumb like log the prompts outside the enclave.
Classic. We secured the runtime, but then someone copies the output into a Google Doc titled Final FILV7.
Yup. Also, we've got to talk about the open in theory part. GLM-5 is huge. People keep repeating the big number like it means you can run it on your gaming PC. You can't.
Thank you. This is my pet peeve. Open weights doesn't mean I can casually self-host it between Fortnite matches.
Right. The practical line is open weights means you can own the model lifecycle if you have the infrastructure budget or a provider that supports your deployment requirements. But for most teams, open becomes available through someone else's hosted endpoint, which puts you right back into vendor risk unless you're careful.
So the real win is optionality, not instant freedom.
Exactly. Optionality and the ability to negotiate. You can say, we can move. That changes everything.
Okay, let's stitch this to agents. Because GLM-5 is being framed as agent-ready, and then MiroThinker shows up like, hi, we're not just agentic, we're verification-centric.
Yeah. MiroThinker 1.7 and MiroThinker H1 are basically making a point that agents don't fail because they can't talk. They fail because they confidently do multi-step work wrong.
Like the intern who never asks questions, just ships chaos.
Exactly. Their whole pitch is local and global checks, meaning it verifies each step and then verifies the whole chain. Think it plans, executes, and then audits itself for contradictions, missing evidence, and fake fixes.
Give me a real-world example where verification saves your life, Hunter.
Easy. A marketing team asks an agent to produce a landing page refresh. It pulls the current pricing from a random internal doc that's outdated, writes copy with old pricing, and schedules it to publish. Verification would cross-check against the source of truth, flag the mismatch, and stop the deploy.
That's not hypothetical. That's Tuesday.
Exactly. Another example. Research agents. They browse, summarize, and cite. Verification can do basic sanity checks like, do we have citations for each key claim, and are these sources actually saying what we think they're saying? That's the difference between insight and reputation damage.
Okay, but I'm going to challenge you. Verification-centric sounds amazing, but does it slow everything down? Like, if every step gets checked, do we lose the speed advantage?
Great push. It can slow things down, but here's the trade. Speed without trust is just faster rework. In real workflows, the time sink isn't generation, it's cleanup after the model faceplants.
The hidden tax is humans doing emotional labor on broken drafts.
Exactly. So the goal is fast enough with fewer catastrophic errors. And also, you don't need verification on everything. You need it on steps that change reality. publishing, emailing, spending, compliance, claims.
So, in the first month, what do we measure? Because people love measuring token counts and tool calls like it's a video game achievement.
Measure fewer errors that hit production, fewer approvals needed per asset because quality is consistent, and faster cycle time from brief to shippable draft. And here's the brutally honest metric. How often did the team choose to use it without being forced?
Ooh, adoption truth serum.
Exactly. If they avoid it, the agent is annoying or untrustworthy.
Speaking of adoption, Fish Audio S2. This one has creators drooling because it's open source expressive TTS with promptable emotions. You can literally tag stuff like whispering or laughing nervously.
Yeah, and multi-speaker conversations in one pass. That's wild for podcast-style ads, skits, character-driven brand content, and rapid localization.
But ethical line time. Where's the line between brand voice consistency and we're basically deep-faking ourselves?
The line is consent and disclosure, plus how you source the voice. If you're cloning a real person's voice, you need explicit permission, clear usage scope, and ideally a revocation path. If it's a synthetic brand voice created from scratch, you still need disclosure strategy because audiences are getting sensitive to manipulation.
Also, if your brand voice can cry on command, you might be tempted to emotionally blackmail your audience with perfectly tuned sadness, and that is dark.
Exactly. Just because we can problem. The responsible move is using expressiveness to improve clarity and engagement, not to counterfeit authenticity.
Okay, practical use case for creators. Multilingual ads. If Fish S2 really supports a ton of languages, you can spin variants fast. But what's the moat now? If everyone can generate infinite voice content, do we just accept content inflation as the new normal?
We do. The moat shifts to taste, distribution, and trust. Taste is the script and the concept, distribution is still king, and trust is, do people believe you? If your audience thinks everything is synthetic, they'll punish you for it. So the winners will be the ones who use AI to scale craft, not to cosplay being human.
Craft, receipts, and not being weird. Or like, being weird in the right way.
Exactly. Also, quick ecosystem pulse, since this all connects. We just talked recently about GPT 5.4 Pro vibes and agent chaos. The theme keeps repeating. Longer context, cheaper tool calls, more autonomous behavior. Now open source is racing to match that, but with ownership and deployability.
And we covered Kling 3.0 recently too, where video got more consistent. So now you've got consistent video characters, and now you've got expressive voices you can generate, and now you've got agents that can plan campaigns. Like, we're building little content studios in a box.
Yup. And the danger is, studios in a box can also mass-produce mistakes in a box. That's why verification layers, permissioning, and human approvals are the actual product.
So what's the realistic path forward for an org that's pro-AI, but doesn't want to automate their way into a compliance nightmare?
Start with a bounded workflow, something like research synthesis, brief drafting, or localization drafts. Keep a human approval gate, add logging so you can see sources and changes. Then add verification on the risky steps. And only after that do you let it touch execution, like scheduling or posting, and even then, from a queue you already approved.
So agents can run fast in the kiddie pool, not the deep end.
Exactly.
All right, that's the show. Go celebrate Oatmeal Nut Waffle Day by, I don't know, feeding your agent a waffle and telling it not to publish without permission.
Please do not feed your agent. Thanks for hanging with us on KoiCast.
Subscribe so you don't miss the next time open source drops something that makes your workflow feel illegal.
And check out koi.com/resources for AI news and updates. Catch you later.